Wakey, wakey, get your hands out from between your legs. Guys, we know you didn't get that woman that you were dying for. Ladies, you didn't get the 8-second ride in the saddle. Deal with it. Get the coffee brewing. Fry up the bacon and eggs. We're back, baby. It's Sports Frenzy 2.0, the weekend edition, your Saturday morning hangover cure.
Pound that aspirin because you couldn't pound anything last night.
You couldn't get pounded.
He's your Uncle Dave, the Conquistador Dave Heights.
He's your Uncle Kev, the Maestro Kevin Crane.
And you know, each and every Saturday morning, we are here to guide you through until you make the same damn mistakes again.
Yep, it's April 13th, 2024. We're taping this the 10th. And what do we start off with every week?
Rock and roll, baby. Rock and roll.
Skippy.
So we're going to do things a little bit differently this week because your Uncle Dave was off last week. So,
yeah, work called taking me out of town to a damn conference.
So in terms of albums, I have a formal full review. Your Uncle Dave has listened to the album. He will chime in, but he's going to review the album that I did last week.
So deal with it.
And then we've got two songs that we're both going to break down for you.
Yeah.
So let's start off with Motley Crue guitarist Mick Mars.
The Other Side of Mars.
And we had a bad feeling. We've had a bad feeling about this for months and months. We've reviewed, what, 4 songs? 3 or 4 songs?
A few songs off of it. We feared it was going to be generic. We were hoping that Mars, being the guitar guy that he is, would have shined through. We were very disappointed.
And again, we figured this was coming. We were hoping that maybe the deeper tracks on the album would feature Mick Mars exerting some semblance of a guitar personality, like a Steve Vai, like an Yngwie Malmsteen,
Nita Strauss.
Right. Even Ted Nugent would let somebody else sing the vocals.
But the guitar work was there. It was the centerpiece of every song.
That's the personality. That is what separates each and every guitarist from the pack. And you just don't get it on the Other Side of Mars. Unfortunately, again, our worst fears realized. There's not much on the album that I really liked. And despite a couple decent songs that we reviewed earlier.
Yeah.
Loyal to the Lie, Right Side of Wrong are probably the two best.
The two best.
You've got a couple piano ballads in there. You've got Alone and you've got Memories. What are these songs doing on this album?
There's nothing there. Mick, this was your opportunity to show the rest of the crew what you were made of, and you did not deliver.
Right, with all the animosity that's been going back and forth between Mick Mars and the other members of Motley Crue, this kind of, I hate to say it, kind of shows that they maybe made the right choice bringing in John 5. Now, we have not heard anything from that incarnation
of
Motley Crue yet.
But we know Mick is dealing with serious health issues.
Yes, and that's always got to be considered. So we're not trying to be complete and total jackasses about this. Jackass!
But there were expectations that we had.
Yeah. And again, maybe on a good day, half the album is tolerable.
Yeah. It's not one to go back to.
No, I will not be partaking of The Other Side of Mars again. There's just not enough on it that I enjoyed.
Yeah. It was very, very mediocre.
Yep, and he at the end he tries, I guess, tries to do what we've been saying and establish the guitar persona with the instrumental L.A. Noir.
Too little, too late.
Yep, yep. We should mention I liked Ready to Roll too. Ready to Roll was maybe the
That was decent.
closest to a Motley Crue song
Yeah.
in its feel. But again, I don't need two Mick Mars mid-tempo ballads with piano. I really don't.
No. No.
I don't think the Nuge does that. I don't think Ace Frehley does that. Yngwie Malmsteen, Michael Schenker, they don't do that.
You had one piano ballad with the Crew in the entire time. Why are you throwing two into this?
But again, the Crew was a unit. The Crew was all four of those guys together.
Right, yeah.
So if you took Mick Mars and set him aside for a song like that, it didn't matter. That's fine.
It's a one-off.
Right. You can say it's Vince Neil's gig or that's Nikki Sixx. But when Mick Mars wants to step out and be the man, see, my thing with this is he should not have called this a solo album. He should have called it
the
Mick Mars
Project.
Project. The Michael Schenker group, the Mick Mars group, something else. Take the pressure off yourself. So if you're not going to have those,
establish the solid guitar solos that were expected,
then at least spread the credit and the blame out amongst other people. We're going to see Lynch Mob later this year. And George Lynch, number one, would never let this happen. George Lynch
and his stuff, he dominates everything with his guitar work.
But even he is kind of saying, yeah, it's me, but it's these other guys too.
I'm leading it as Lynch, but the Mob is there as a piece of it.
Right. The great Van Halen. Yes, named after Eddie Van Halen, but it would have been nothing without David Lee Roth or Sammy Hagar or even
Mike
Gary
Anthony.
Cherone and Mikey. Yeah.
It's
a group dynamic.
Together.
I don't know how often we have to say it. It's a group dynamic.
The whole is better than the parts.
And we'll talk about the group dynamic in a few minutes. But now we did have another album that I reviewed last week. Now, Dave,
so what are you putting on The Other Side of Mars?
Oh, God, you're going to make me rate this. Honestly, I can't. God, I can only go 1.5 frenzies.
Yeah.
I can't
go anymore.
I was flirting with a week 2, but I don't even think that's...
A week 2 is generous.
Yes.
1.5 is where it should be.
Yeah. Yep. So last week I reviewed Scott Stapp's Higher Power. And I told your Uncle Dave, hey, you got the option. Mick Mars, Scott Stapp. Of course, being the enthusiastic man that he is, he listened to both.
And I am so glad I put more effort into Higher Power.
I told you I would take the bullet on Mick Mars.
It's a much better album.
I told you I would take the bullet, but
we did a few songs off of it early on.
Yes, now we got into this one late though.
We did.
And the ones we did review, Black Butterfly and Dead Man's Trigger, were both very good.
Yes.
Especially Dead Man's Trigger.
Dead Man's Trigger is probably my favorite.
Yep.
Higher Power is damn good too.
Yes, it is.
It is a fantastic kickoff song.
Yep. Title track, very, very good.
So you got those two coming out. Then you when Love Is Not Enough, you kind of start to come down. It's terrible. Good. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't the big letdown like we've seen in other albums. So it's still rolling along pretty good. But then you start to hit.
Well, What I Deserve is tricky because it sounds more like Creed.
It does. It's good, but I don't know that it should fit in with the rest
And
of
this is
what he
where he
was
does
doing.
his little annoying over enunciation. Yeah.
Enunciations, yes.
Where he does on this and on Black Butterfly.
Yeah. No, What I Deserve, I didn't hate it.
Right.
It was decent. If these walls could talk,
Now, see, now you after what you did to me in our break before we started up here recording the weekend edition, you can't do this to me because I had
what?
preconceived notions about this song, and then you're showing me pictures on the internet of Dorothy, and
It,
now I can't listen to the song the same way now.
it does not do her vocals justice.
Doesn't no because she's got a great chest. Great voice, great lungs. See, you got me all flustered, Dave. Oh my God, she's good looking.
She is such an attractive young lady.
I come into these reviews,
but if these walls could talk is the weak link.
it is.
It's a very weak link.
It is.
Again, it's a requisite forced frickin' duet.
Yep.
And it does neither of them any good to have done it.
Yes. And I think in this case, she does try to dominate this. And Stapp almost seems like he's like, okay, you take the song.
Yes, yes, mistress.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. May I please have another? But no, it's just... yeah.
But then we get the Black Butterfly.
Black Butterfly again comes back.
Very good song. Again, he does the
over enunciation.
Fly. Other than that, it's a great song.
Yeah. I did like Quicksand.
I like Quicksand too.
Quicksand was good. You're Not Alone.
Okay.
Okay. It was not horrible, not great, but tolerable. Then Dancing in the Rain, another one that was all right, not fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a step down from You're Not Alone. And then Weight of the World I could have done without too.
Yeah, and again, it's a pattern that we notice with the way they do these albums. And it still drives me crazy that you go 4, 5, 6 years without putting an album out.
You expect greatness.
All we're asking for is 10 songs. We're not going back to the 70s and the 80s where these bands were putting out classic albums and they were recording them every year. Tour, record. You know, Styx was putting out The Grand Illusion and Pieces of 8. And Van Halen's putting out 1 and 2 and Women and Children First. Year.
REO Speedwagon.
Yeah.
You can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish.
High Fidelity.
Come on.
Good Trouble. I mean, it's ridiculous. And now these bands get 5, 6, 7. No, it's Spotify's fault because they don't pay us enough money.
Yeah, quit your bitching and get your damn music out, you whiny little bastards.
Yeah, again, this one tails off at the end. You're right. But I did actually like this enough where I will probably listen to it again.
Yeah, I will too. I will give it a 3, weakish 3.
Yeah,
strong 2.5. It's that in between that's hard
where
to
I am. Yeah,
put.
I think I gave it last week a strong 2.5, I believe. But I did say
it's a strong 2.5.
I will listen to it
deserves
again.
Listening to more.
Yes, I give him credit. I've never been a huge Creed guy.
No,
you know, I want Alter Bridge. I want Mark Tremonti, the other 2 guys back in Alter Bridge. I don't want them doing this shit with Creed. They're going on a tour this summer. No, I want
Alter Bridge. Damn it!
But I give Scott Stapp credit. This is a very solid solo effort on his part.
Well worth listening to.
Yep.
Song time.
Should we go with the great one first?
Let's go with the great one first.
When I say great one, of course, I mean great guitarist, one of the top 3, in my humble opinion, guitarists of all time.
Mark Knopfler.
Now, I read Ultimate Classic Rock posted their review today of the album, the upcoming album coming out It'll be out as you're listening to this.
Yep. So
Not out yet
you
for
will
us.
get the full album review from us next week.
One Deep River is the latest solo album from Mark Knopfler. But we have the third release, the third single leading into that, Two Pairs of Hands. And the review, what the hell were they expecting? They're complaining because it's too mellow.
This is what Knopfler is right now. He is mellow. You should not expect anything high tempo rocking out of him at this point.
Unfortunately, and I get it. You're not.
I know what you want.
You want Tunnel of Love. You want Skate Away. You're not getting that from him anymore.
No, he's moved on. He is in the mellow phase of just doing what he wants to do.
Becoming a storyteller.
Yeah.
And what I read in this review leads me to believe this album is going to be very interesting. Now, the 3 songs we've heard, this, of course, the third, I thought this is the best of the 3. And I am not trying to disparage the other 2, but this sounded as close as we're going to get to old school Dire Straits. Because that little guitar hook is there.
It's
there in this one.
It's in the background. It's that piece you wanted.
Yep. And the 3 songs so far, you can kind of tell with the lyrics. I don't think it's going to be a recurring theme throughout the entire album, but with the title of the album about the river bisecting his childhood home, very good, again, analysis from Ultimate Classic Rock. We're talking about the past versus the present. And you can tell with the lyrics here, a lot of references to being in a bar band early on in his life.
Yep.
Trying to juggle too many things. Only got 2 pairs of hands. I'm looking forward to the album.
I cannot wait.
This could be the strongest, based on what we've heard so far, the strongest solo album of his career.
Yeah, through the first 3. We loved his last album.
Yep.
We got to see him on tour for it.
Yep. And again, one idiot ruined Romeo and Juliet. Otherwise, a phenomenal show.
Dumb drunk twit that she was.
Yeah. Yeah, let's during a mellow song. Romeo and Juliet, I used to have a scene with him. Shut up! Shut your pie hole!
Sit your stupid drunk ass down. But alas,
I didn't pay money for nothing to listen to dumb chicks for free. And maybe it's just me. Maybe it's because I really love Mark Knopfler.
He is one that we just wanted to take it in. We wanted to watch. We wanted to listen to his guitar work. We wanted to watch him play.
And we've had this problem. Dave and I have been going to concerts together for decades. We had this problem with Greg Allman. We saw him the year before. He was playing one of the Allman Brothers classics. Was it Whip and Post?
Yeah.
And again, another. Sorry, it just ends up always being fucking dumb drunk chicks. Never the guys. Oh, we've had problems.
Although
with
we
guys
had the
too.
guy with this drunk chick who his laugh was behind us the whole fucking night.
If you're going to a Motley Crue concert, we've done this. The guy next to me threw up all over the aisle, and you're kind of like, "That's rock and roll."
There you go.
That's rock and roll. But you're going to see Greg Allman or Mark Knopfler
in a
be
small
respectful
theater
to the music. For
if
the
you're
love
in a
of Christ.
small theater, know the venue. Know the venue.
They call it
an
intimate venue for a reason. This is where I understand where John Mellencamp gets pissed off every other show, screaming at
the idiot.
Shut your ass while I'm talking. I'm kind of getting more respectful for John Mellencamp being a little bitch about this stuff.
There are times where
He's
he's
speaking for us.
allowed, but other times where he's just a raging prick.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Little bastard. Little bastard. But Two Pairs of Hands, like I said, my favorite so far. I am overly enthusiastic, I'll admit, about Mark Knopfler. Maybe it's because we haven't really had a lot in the last month in terms of new music.
No, I am so geeked on Knopfler.
I will. This one, I love the guitar hook so much. I'm giving it 3.5 frenzies.
Boom. Right on point.
I can still hear it. It's just in my head. It is, again, the one of the few times in his solo career where I can hear him directly hearkening back to Dire Straits.
Yeah.
I could hear this song on the first album, right after Sultan's a Swing.
It would be right in
Yep.
there. It was very, very well done.
Yep. Then, of course, Dave indulged me.
Kings of Leon, one of your favorites. We have their next song, Split Screen. Believe it or not, I love this one.
You know what this reminds me of? This song reminds me of an early 80s Cars type song, like Drive almost.
Yeah. No, this was, it had the whole beat, it had the drums, the guitar work, the vocals were fantastic. Yep. I love the lyrics.
Yep. I was extremely impressed with them and how they can change gears like this.
Yeah,
after the goofy, bizarre Mustang.
Yeah, which was okay.
Well, I liked it. But
this Split Screen, I abso-freaking-lutely loved. I'm giving this 3.5 as well. I loved. I
can't even go that far.
One.
I will go strong 3 frenzies. But
I don't like Kings of Leon.
I know,
but this one hit home with me that I'm very impressed with.
And again, I think it because it harkens back to that early 80s sound, almost new wave-ish.
Yeah. It's got that vibe.
A mid-tempo Cars Police type song. And I know you like the Police, but just that
Screw
new wave
Police,
vibe.
But I like the Cars.
Got that
and
new
it's got
wave
that,
vibe.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, this one, I listened to Knopfler several times. I've listened to Split Screen more. This one just
very cool. Man.
Very cool. I'm not a huge Kings of Leon fan. I do not care for them. But this song resonated with me. And it's fantastic.
And again, I think it's because it sounds like it's back from when we were kids. It's got that 80s feel to it.
It's got that feel.
Yep.
So
very good. So, are you going to review the album? Thinking about it?
I will probably do the album. I'll throw you a bone.
We'll probably have one more song before the album comes out.
Yeah.
And maybe that'll be the deciding factor.
Yeah, now
you didn't like Mustang, you like Split Screen.
We'll see what the third one does. That will be the decider.
All right, kids, there you go. That is your...
See, I'm not the complete music snob he thinks I am.
I don't... No, that's not... that's my daughter who thinks I'm the music snob. No, you like what you like. I get that. And you don't like Dave Matthews. You don't like Pearl Jam. You don't. I get
it is what it is.
I don't like Five Finger Death Punch and Korn and all the stuff you like. What the... Wah!
There we go. That's why this is a brilliant thing for us to do. We can agree to disagree.
And we end up, Dave will throw in suggestions and I'll go, hey, that's pretty good stuff. He liked Split Screen. I am ecstatic about that.
Who knew?
Very happy. I was hoping you would like it. I did not know you'd like it this much. So this makes me very happy.
This one, it just hit.
See, this tells you that we're not bad people. We actually enjoy it when other people take our suggestions. You, for instance, out there in
should
podcast
be freaking
land.
Listening to everything we tell you to and avoiding what we tell you.
We always say we've got to be running everything. So
that's true.
Now, next week, music-wise, of course, we mentioned Mark Knopfler. One Deep River will be our feature
yes,
album review. Now, music in terms of songs. Next week, a little bit of a drought. Still don't understand. How are Collective Soul putting out a double album
And they're
in a
not
month?
releasing anything.
Yeah, it's coming out in mid-May next month, and there's still not an official single release yet.
You're killing us, guys.
That tells me they're going to delay it.
Yeah.
There's no way.
There's a production issue going on.
There's no way they have not put out a single yet for an album coming out in 5 weeks.
Yeah.
No way.
No.
So I'm worried about that. I do have one song, though, that I would like to bounce off of you. See what you think about this. Kind of a super group. Remember, we used to listen to Asia. Damn Yankees, I heard today.
Mr. Big.
Super groups. You get the best of all these bands, the great session players together. So this band has a pedigree. The band is called The Effect. Now, I will tell you, kids, I am a huge fan of rock and roll logos. The Conquistador and Mrs. C years ago got me the greatest shirt of all time. This Hawaiian style shirt with all the logos from the great 70s and 80s bands plastered all over it. And it is literally, I will be buried in the shirt.
The compliments he gets on this shirt are in the hundreds.
Yes, every year. And I don't wear it to every concert, but I wear it to 2 or 3, maybe 4. Yes, hundreds of compliments. And I will be buried in this shirt. My Van Halen CDs, this shirt in the casket with me.
Yeah. So this shirt is going to be on him underneath his Cubs jersey.
Yes. And the scavengers, when the apocalypse hits.
And there will be a Van Halen t-shirt beneath it all.
Well, the Van Halen logo will be etched into my tombstone. We all know that.
Yes.
But yeah, when the scavengers come, when the apocalypse hits, they will dig up my grave trying to find gold teeth, and they'll see this shirt and go, fuck the gold teeth, we're taking the shirt.
We're taking the fucking shirt.
But the shirt has all these phenomenal logos on it. The Effect, this brand new band, they have one of the coolest logos I've ever seen in my life. They put some thought into this. They basically take the letters from the word effect and move them around and make a symbol out of them that is just killer.
Now I have to freaking look this up.
But while you're doing that, let me tell you about the band. The band consists of Nick Collins on drums, who is Phil Collins' son.
Nice.
And on guitar we talked Toto.
Yes.
Steve Lukather, one of the main guys in Toto, his son is on guitars.
So we got a Nepo band.
It's a Nepo band, yeah.
Oh, dude, that is one of the coolest fucking logos
Is that
ever.
Not sweet? Is that not sweet? We know you can't see this.
Oh my
We're
God.
encouraging you to go out and look at this.
They've got it going left to right and then top to bottom. Oh my God.
Yeah. Isn't that awesome?
That is fucking phenomenal.
So The Effect, their brand new song is called Toxic Envy. Now they've got a couple other songs out there. So yes, it's a Nepo band. It's a super group, whatever you want to call it. You got the pedigree with Phil Collins' DNA in this, Steve Lukather's DNA in here. So at least we got one song next week, maybe. Toxic Envy.
There we go.
By The Effect.
And awesome fucking logo. Check it out.
Yeah, if the logo impresses Dave, then it'll impress you.
It's really damn cool.
Yep.
So if they're half as good as the logo looks, we're in for a treat.
Yeah, and I might have to listen to a couple of these other. It's like with Scott Stapp, we got in on that late.
Yeah, we're gonna have to hit this one and hit it right. If we like the first one.
That's what she said.
Boom, baby.
You enjoying that coffee? You enjoying those bacon and eggs?
We're just getting rolling,
We're not even close to being done yet, kids, because it is time for movies. Movies, movies. So now your Uncle Dave and I must delve into a discussion about movies where people in Hollywood, again, don't have original ideas. So they take these precious commodities, these memories that we have from growing up, from our childhood, these movies, these TV shows, and then they decide, let's redo them. Let's make it a PC cast. Let's make it a completely different movie or a TV show.
Let's bastardize my favorite guilty fucking pleasure movie of all time.
There he goes, getting straight to the heart of the point. We are talking about the brand new 2024 release on Amazon Prime of Roadhouse.
Patrick Swayze's got to be rolling over in his grave on this one.
Not very many people that we know dislike the original movie Roadhouse. It is, like he said, a cult classic, a guilty pleasure. Kelly Lynch.
Oh. I mean, come on. Kelly Lynch, Patrick Swayze, Sam Elliott. Don't fuck with a classic.
And we have discussed this off mic in terms of thinking about movies that they've redone, TV shows that they've redone, and it is such a rare instance. The Magnificent Seven comes to mind
as the rare instance where they took the original, kind of redid it, and it frickin' worked.
Yes, because Dave and I were both, when we heard they were going to redo the Magnificent Seven,
we're pissed.
We were like, hell no. Hell no. You don't redo that movie.
The only saving grace, that the reason why we watched it, Denzel Washington and Chris Pratt.
Yes. If they could pull it off if no one else could.
Yeah, and it worked. It wasn't a complete
they tweaked
remake.
The plot, right? They tweaked the plot enough.
So it worked. They did it justice without remaking it.
Same concept of 7 guys working outside the law to bring justice
to a small town.
But there were enough tweaks in the plot to make it different and keep the integrity intact to make it an excellent movie.
It was very, very well done.
But then for every one we've got like that, we get the Wild, Wild fucking West.
What the fucking spider? Mechanical spider? Seriously?
And if you have not heard about the backstory that involves that mechanical spider and what movie it was actually supposed to be a part of.
Oh my God.
Do yourself a favor and do some research.
The director should never be allowed to work again.
Yeah, I believe that, John Peters, I believe, was the megalomaniac running the studio at that time who...
Oh my God.
Oh, but I'm sorry. That was the foretelling, the foreshadowing of the PC garbage that we're dealing with now with Will Smith
as James West.
Which fucking is no way in hell supposed to happen! You don't fuck with Robert Conrad as James West! You don't! Kevin Kline? Great!
Perfect as Artemis Gordon.
Yes.
Perfect.
But Will fucking Smith,
is
no
way
in hell. No way in fucking hell. I don't care. Don't call me a racist. When I get a white guy playing Shaft, then we can talk. But until then, fucking the ultimate level of PC blasphemy was Will Smith playing James West.
That was the beginning of the end.
Yes. And again, until you give me a white Shaft, I don't want to fucking hear you call me a racist. Let's see it go both ways, and then we can talk. But perfect. I digress. Nothing like that going on here. We've got Jake Gyllenhaal playing Dalton in the new Roadhouse. I didn't like him. I'm sorry, I just didn't like him.
The acting all the acting was horrible.
I didn't like him.
It wasn't a likable character.
Right, exactly. Thank you.
There
For
was
a hero,
nothing.
you're supposed to like the hero, even if the hero has a darker edge to him. We have seen this in the past. Guys, Nico, Steven Seagal playing. Nico was not a perfect human being. He
No,
was a little bit of a nasty asshole. But we rooted
but
for
we
him because
rooted
in the
for him.
end, he was trying to do the right thing. Jake Gyllenhaal's character here, a former UFC fighter who has anger issues.
To say the least.
Again, Dalton
He,
takes a trip down to the Florida Keys to take a job to clean up again,
he needs
ostensibly
money,
a bar.
basically. He's doing it.
Well, he's playing the drifter. He's almost trying to be a Reacher character in a certain respect.
Ish. He's just not a likable character.
And then they try to ground him right away with the young girl in the bookstore and show, see, he's a nice guy. He cares
He's
about.
got a heart.
Yeah. But Jake
That was
Gyllenhaal is just, he's like offbeat. It's like you're waiting. The beat's
He's-
always wrong with him and the way
he's
he
off
portrays the
kilter.
character.
And
He
I
just-
swear to God, Conor McGregor should never be in another fucking movie ever.
Yeah, a lot of people, from what I've seen,
He is awful.
the people that have posted reviews online, he's the number one problem that I think a lot of people have with this movie is that he's just not that. He's a basic cardboard, a cookie cutter cutout cardboard villain. There's no, he just appears. I'm a badass. You got to beat me. There's no backstory to it.
No,
he's a hired gun brought in. And the girl, again, has to make the illusions about, oh, you're like the guy in the Western who walks into town and cleans up the city.
It's just bad.
See,
It's
now,
badly
I
written.
think you hated it more than I did.
If it was on its own, it would still be a mediocre movie.
Yeah, it would have been a watchable, decent action movie.
If it
should
was
have
not
never been
called
connected.
Roadhouse, there
never.
should not have been a character named Dalton. Take that away. Still, it's not a good movie. The character development is not good.
I will dispute you to a point on this.
It had its moments, but the characters were not well put together.
No, I won't argue with you on the characters. I think Doug Liman, who is a well-known director, an action director, I think does a decent job with setting up the action scenes.
Oh, I don't have an issue with the action scenes.
And a lot of the stuff they do, I thought was pretty cool and exciting.
There were some neat things that they did. The whole boat stuff.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. That's where I was going.
Back for the final piece.
Right.
Was great.
Right. And I think that's what elevated it for me.
My issue was with the characters.
And I agree.
And the acting.
I agree.
Were subpar.
I agree. But whereas you're taking that and focusing on that, I'm preferring to look at the action scenes and the way it was directed, and I take a little bit more positive away from that. I think we both agree. Jake Gyllenhaal, there was just something wrong with his performance.
Oh, he was just not.
He was off. He was
bad.
just off. And he is not a likable hero in this.
No.
He's really not.
No,
you don't connect with him. You just can't connect with him.
And I don't know. That's almost, I think, the vibe they were going for, which is not the.
Let me ask you this, though. Let's dive deeper into this Jake Gyllenhaal thing. Have you ever seen a movie where you thought he was good?
No. He's just a bad actor, period.
He was okay in Source Code. Source Code is the only movie where I thought he was all right.
I've not liked him in anything.
But he doesn't do a lot of this stuff. And, of course, he was in great shape for it. He shows off his pecs, his body. And, by the way, how the hell is it you stab somebody and the knife that's got like a 3-4 inch blade?
And then you just fucking...
And they don't bleed! They don't bleed! He gets stabbed. He doesn't bleed.
It's
What the hell's up
fucking
with that?
stupid ass ridiculous. And I'm
That I didn't
sorry.
like. That I didn't like. That was not realistic.
No. And the relationship with the doctor. Really?
It's forced.
It's forced. It's
It's a
awful.
plot contrivance because of who her father is and how that
he was
drives the
done.
story.
They were bad. Both of them were
No,
bad.
I agree with you that the acting was bad. The characters are minimally interesting, and they do not do anything. They're just there to drive the plot. That's it.
Yeah.
What plot there is.
What little plot, yeah.
Again, though, I like the directing. I like the action sequences.
But that doesn't
But
make up for the whole.
see, for me, it does to a point. But I agree with you that I'm trying to look past. Like, you can't look past Tom Cruise as Jack Reacher.
You're right. I cannot.
I can. I can look past the bad acting here and enjoy the action set pieces.
I did. I enjoyed the action enough that I watched the entire thing. If I didn't like that piece of it, I would have bailed within a half hour. So there was enough there that kept me for the whole 2+ fucking hours.
I think about 2. Yeah, it wasn't.
It was
Thank God. If it would have been longer than 2, I would have bailed too.
It was a little over 2. But
what I'm going to go, I'm going to be on the fence here, but I'm going to go on your side. I will go a week, 2.5 frenzies. I'm not recommending the movie.
I can only go a week 2. I did not.
I'm not recommending the movie. The 2.5 is the cutoff. Either a week 2 is a no, a strong 2.5, or a week 2.5 is a no, a strong 2.5 is a yes. I'm going week 2.5.
I'm going week 2.
Because again,
I hated the acting more than you did. The action did not make up enough.
I think that the second part of what you just said is the key. I think you and I both agree on the acting, but I thought the action made up for that more than you did.
To me, it didn't do it.
Okay. So we're both saying stay away.
Stay the fuck away.
I'm saying,
if you want a Roadhouse, do the damn original.
Yeah, watch the original for the love of God. All right. I have a story time. And of course, I have alluded to this. I alluded to this in the sports edition a few days ago. Ooh, child, things are gonna get easier. Ooh, child, things are gonna get brighter. Closing song over the final scene of this lost, forgotten movie from 1979.
Oh, good Lord.
Now, the reason why this is a story time is because recently I watched The Wildlife, and I've been trying to dig back into those movies from the late 70s and early 80s that I remember for the most part for the music. Because while I'm focusing on this one,
The Wildlife was not a great movie, but the soundtrack was freaking awesome.
Because it was Eddie Van Halen. Well, the soundtrack to this movie was not like that one song. The soundtrack to this movie was very heavy on Van Halen and Cheap Trick, a movie about teenage rebellion in a suburban community called New Granada, starring a young Matt Dillon. The movie I'm referring to is Over the Edge.
Jesus. Good Lord, man.
Over the Edge.
Good Lord, man.
Over the Edge. Very low budget in terms of, if you watch it, it looks like they put $10 into it.
Yeah.
But
I can barely remember this one.
It is one of those over-the-top cautionary tales, almost like Reefer Madness, where they tell you at the beginning, this is based on a true story, where a community was put up, a suburb was put up without thinking about the 25% of the population under the age of 15 and the consequences that would ensue. Over the Edge is about.
Good
Yes.
Lord. I think I've only seen that once, way back in the frickin' day.
Yeah, but again, unbelievable soundtrack. 4 or 5 Cheap
Man.
Trick songs on the soundtrack. Van Halen's You Really Got Me playing at a key moment in a party. You got some Jimi Hendrix in there. And again, the one notable character actor you know is Matt Dillon. But this is about, again, a cautionary tale about what happens if the parents are too concerned about how they live their life and their careers.
The whole utopian
Yep.
yuppie beginning of the yuppie phase.
Yep. And the kids are relegated to a rec center when they're not in school.
They don't have a nanny. They're not latchkey kids. They're sent
Yep, they're sent,
aftercare.
Yep. And of course it's drugs and sex and rock and roll.
Debauchery run amok.
And it gets to the point where things go off the rails, guns get involved, and the climax of the movie reminded me, bear with me here, I know you said you have maybe watched this once,
Good Lord,
reminded me of The Warriors in how it went so far over the top with the consequences of the actions. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who's not seen Over the Edge. And it's hard to find. I will admit, it's very hard to find out there. I don't know if it's even available on streaming. I got a hold of a cheap DVD copy.
I may have to borrow it to refresh my memory. It's been so damn long. It just barely resonates.
Yep. Remember Vincent Spano? He's in it. Character actor.
Okay, yeah.
But it's all the ills of youth. And in that way, it's relatable to modern day.
If it could go wrong, it does.
You got guns, you got drugs, you got sex, and nobody knows how to handle it. The parents,
and there's no fire trucks.
Chicks and drugs and fire trucks. But yeah, the climax of the movie just goes so far over the top in terms of, again, cautionary tale. This is what's going to happen to you if you don't love your children and pay attention to them and give them everything they want. This is what's going to happen. They're going to go over the edge. And if you look at dig up the old trailers and the old ads, that's what they do in the ads.
God. Yeah.
This is what will happen to your children. They will go over the edge. Now, it has not aged all that well.
No, I cannot imagine it aging well.
And again, it's done on a shoestring budget. But there's a certain appeal to it.
It's that cult classic.
I feel the same way about this as I did about The Wildlife, where it was worth watching for me. I don't know if I could recommend it outside of, like, you would appreciate it. There are people out there who would.
It's a generational movie.
But I can't recommend it to the podcast audience as a whole.
No. You have to be of our generation for it to have any appeal.
Right. So again, just like The Wildlife,
my kids would not do well.
They would laugh at it. They would laugh at it. So again, I go two frenzies with this. I can't recommend it outside of a very small group, again, like Dave said, of people who would understand that generation from the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
They get it. If you're part of this, you'll get it. But it was just a fun watch.
There you go.
Because like you, I had not watched it in decades.
Oh my God. It barely blips on my radar memory.
But it was, again, just one of those things where The Wildlife, thinking about that, led me into this. The Van Halen connection, the music connection. I started watch The Wildlife. Over the Edge. What the hell ever happened to that movie? And I remember
There you go.
when I was 14 years old, remember those ads where they made it almost sound like it was a slasher movie.
Yeah.
This is what's going to happen if you push your children too far.
Kids should not watch this. This is for the parents only. Yeah. All right. So I have one. So last week I was off, had a conference, professional conference. So first night there, unpacked, trying to get ready. Of course, what are you doing? Ironing everything that you're going to wear for the rest of the week. So I fire up Netflix and I watch Kevin Hart's Lift,
That's new. Yeah.
the new heist movie that he has. I give him credit. He is not the goofy comedic goofball in this one. It's fairly serious. He's the leader of a group of criminals. Their whole thing is to get what they can. And he's pretty well off, and the team works together very well. They're conscripted by Interpol to help stop a terrorist group from getting a shipment of gold to fund their nefarious efforts. The key bit: to steal the gold, they have to get it from an airplane in flight, take it from the hold, and transfer it. It's actually pretty damn decent. There's some corny moments, but there's enough, like you talked about the last heist movie you watched, where it was very generic. This had some pretty cool little bits to it, stuff that you didn't quite see coming. I actually really enjoyed this one. There was enough there to keep you going and entertained. I'll give it a solid 3. It's worth watching. I mean, to see Kevin Hart not in a goofy ass role, but fairly serious leading a team, I enjoyed it.
And I'll admit, I don't know, shocking as this is, I don't know enough about Kevin Hart. I have not watched enough of his work to really make a judgment whether I would like him or not.
Yeah.
I just never.
Usually he's comic
Right.
relief.
Right. Central
But-
Intelligence, I didn't want to watch that. Ride Along, I didn't care about that. So I've kind of stayed away from. I haven't even watched his stand-up.
Yeah, no, this it's got some moments, but it's a little more on the serious heist. It's a good heist movie, and it's not his typical foray, which I appreciated the change of pace from him. So, and the whole cast was very well done. So,
Very cool. Very,
yeah,
very cool.
This I will recommend Lift.
So I guess that's our big recommendation of the week then.
Yes.
That's going to be it.
It would be.
That's the most positive review we've got for our movies.
Yep. So, shall we do the book review?
Let's wrap up movies first. I got a couple little tidbits, and then move on to books. Because we got to do our movie news.
Dee.
This one's just for you, because I know this one you're going to be in the theaters for. You will be front row in the theaters for this, because I know you're a big fan of this movie. So, coming out in theaters in August of 2024, Dave, the unrated version.
Oh, God help me.
Of Caligula.
Oh, sweet Jesus. Come on.
Caligula, the ultimate cut.
Didn't they put that out on DVD about 5 years? 5-10 years ago.
with Malcolm McDowell and Helen Mirren. Coming back into theaters August 2024, and I do mean coming.
Oh, God. Get a little fist there, Doc.
If you guys don't know what Caligula is, I am not explaining it to you.
No.
Look it up. Look it up. And I'm not even talking about historically. I'm talking about this movie.
Yeah, this was
one of the most notorious movies ever released.
This, you actually had what could have been a fairly serious movie with a lot of debauchery that God, what the hell was his name? Saccone from Penthouse.
Right, right.
He produced it, and within Guccione.
Yep.
Within the main storyline, he filmed straight up pornographic scenes that he spliced into
Right.
a mainstream
Right.
Hollywood
It is not
movie.
simulated sex.
No.
In a lot of these scenes.
That makes it what it is. His pieces are not simulated stuff. If you take out what he put in, you would have what could be considered a period piece, but it was still
watch your language there,
over
buddy.
the top.
And again, you have respectable actors and actresses in this.
Yeah, and they were taken advantage of for the whole part with what he interspersed in there. So it's definitely a polarizing film. Have you seen it?
I don't think I've seen it. See, I in my brain I get mixed up with. I watched multiple times I, Claudius.
Okay.
On PBS. Now for PBS there was some wrong. I know it's not even comparable.
No.
To that, but there was some questionable
stuff in there
scenes in I, Claudius.
Yeah.
There was some nudity. There was some heavy duty, serious
shit
stuff
going on.
I mean, they were cutting babies out of women's stomachs
Yeah.
and things like that. But I know it doesn't compare to what
Caligula
Guccione did in this.
So if you take it's a tale of two edits.
Right.
You have what could be considered the feature film part, which was still kind of over the top for the stuff. But then what Guccione put in, the straight up porn, interspersed, which really didn't have its place. You could tell what he put in versus what the movie was.
Well, there's obviously...
But I'm still not going to watch it again.
There's
because
obviously
it was disturbing
some kind of a demand for this. I was just kidding about that part. I wasn't actually setting it aside for you. It's just one of those weird, interesting factoids.
It is, but it's one that you can only watch once.
Oh, please. I'm not saying I dispute you on that, but when you say that, it just makes me think of what we said a couple weeks ago about the Oscars. And we talked about Schindler's List and how I can only watch Schindler's List once. And it's like apples and oranges, but
how
at the
many
same
times
time,
can you watch A Clockwork Orange?
Yeah, that's another one. Too disturbing. Too disturbing. In movie scheduling news, and again, this is something we have had a bad habit of having to report lately. More movies getting pushed back. We were just talking a couple weeks ago about The Crow, the new version of The Crow.
Right, with Bill Skarsgård.
They've already pushed it back.
Oh, come on!
It was supposed to come out June the 7th. It has been pushed back to August the 23rd. And I am a huge fan, of course, of the Saw movies. Looking forward to Saw 11. Well, I'm going to have to wait an extra year.
Oh, for the love of God.
Move back from September of 2024 to September of 2025.
Oh, God. That's just absolutely ridiculous. There's no reason to push that back a damn year. They don't have anything coming out.
Oh, come on. It's supply chain issues. It's the strike
Oh, it's
repercussions.
bullshit.
Now, this weekend, and I think this is, again, part of what we just talked about. There's so little content out there that sometimes these movies that normally would have gone straight to video or barely caused a blip are getting major releases.
Yeah, because Hollywood is pushing back the good stuff because they don't have the frickin' balls to put it out there.
So this weekend we're getting it's out right now as you're listening to this in the theaters. God help me if you go see this because it looks like low grade trash. It looks like number one, an attempt to piss people off, make people mad, divide the country because yes, it is civil war.
It looks damn awful.
It looks ridiculous, and the worst part of this is it looks like they're trying to make the press out to be the heroes. And we know that is 100% false.
Absolutely horrendous.
So,
screw the press. Damn Ted Turner to hell for creating the 24-hour news cycle where they have to make up shit to fill in the time.
Do not be shocked if once we start hearing things about this movie, it appears in another episode towards the end. But we don't just watch TV and movies and listen to music. We also are literate. We read books. Dave reads 47 a week.
Maybe a year.
No, you read more than that a year and you goddamn well know it. Yeah.
I shoot for one a week. It doesn't always happen.
I thought you said you read something like 80 last year.
No, I didn't hit 80 last year.
Okay. I know you keep track.
So
I keep track of what I read and watch too, so.
Yeah. I think I might have hit one a week last year.
So 50, roughly?
About 52, maybe.
Yeah.
But this week's review, I have 3-Inch Teeth by C.J. Box, the latest Joe Pickett story. So this one we find Joe working with a team from the Wyoming game wardens trying to track down a rampaging grizzly who killed the young man who was ready to become Joe's eldest daughter's fiance. He was ready to propose to Sheridan. Killed in a grisly manner by the grizzly bear while fishing. Unprovoked attack. So Joe and the team are trying to track it down. It comes back and attacks one of the team members. Joe gets off a shot, wounding it, but they cannot track it and find it. They have air support. It's out in the wilderness. Meanwhile, Dallas Cates, rodeo legend from the town of Saddle String where they're from, bad guy. This is the third appearance. The whole Cates family was not good. Criminal enterprise led by the mother. Dallas gets out. Joe and several other people, including his buddy Nate, were instrumental in kind of concocting stuff to put Dallas behind bars for a while because he managed to pull stuff off without any evidence being there. So they got him there. Dallas has his hit list of people to get revenge on. So Cates is released. The Pickett family are not notified as they were supposed to be upon his release. So Dallas and his cohorts hear about the grizzly attacks, find a museum with an old grizzly bear that they concoct their own contraption to start taking their revenge with. Yeah, there's a lot going on in this one with the revenge factor there against everyone involved. Nate, his wife, Joe, the judge, and then you have a side story because, of course, Nate's got his company, Yarrick Inc., using raptors to do bird abatement with invasive species. And Joe's eldest daughter, Sheridan, of course, works for Nate as a master falconer. She's on a job, and lo and behold, she runs in who it turns out is Joe's estranged mother, her grandmother, which adds a whole different spin on the entire thing. Box, of course, weaves a decent tale as always. This is the third in the trilogy with Dallas Cates. Again, Box does a solid job. This is one you really have had to followed the series along to be fully invested in, with all the characters and everything going on. It's a solid 3-week, 3.5. I mean, Box doesn't disappoint with Pickett.
Yeah, now I have not read any of the books. I do have a bunch of them stashed that I've picked up at Goodwill. You know, $2 here, $3 there. I've been watching the Joe Pickett series on Paramount Plus, halfway through season 2, enjoying that very much. So I know the characters, some of the characters you're referring to.
Yeah.
But I do at some point, I say this about so many series and so many different authors and so many different books, but I do mean to at some point start reading those.
Yeah.
Just like with the Gray Man, just like with Longmire, and yeah.
Someday.
You talk a big game, maestro.
Put up or shut up, bitch.
Some of us can't read 80 books a week, Dave.
So, there you go.
Good to hear, though. Good to hear that the CJ Box Pickett series is still rolling along.
Rolling, and the whole character thing, the development, the Pickett universe, like we talk about with Spencer, they build upon everything. Box does the same thing in the Pickett universe.
Yep. So you almost have to get in at the beginning.
Yeah, you really can't jump into the middle of this series. There are some where you can, but you still have to go back to get caught up to fully get the whole story.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I've done that in the past. I did that with James Lee Burke in the RoboShow series. I did that with Spencer. And once you get involved and you realize you've got to do that.
Oh, crap. I've got to go back.
You go back. But that's great. You get encouraged to start the series from the beginning and take in all the previous books.
Yeah. That happened with Hap and Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of the series I've been fortunate enough to have started from the beginning, or I knew from recommendations to start from the beginning to get the full run.
Yep. And then, of course, I talk about the TV show, Joe Pickett. You also have that to sometimes be a springboard, like with Longmire.
Right.
Didn't even think about the Craig Johnson series of books until I saw Longmire initially. Eventually getting onto Netflix. What was it, on A&E originally? Or
A&E originally.
Then go to Netflix. They
cut it, and then Netflix picked it up for the last couple seasons.
How about that for a segue?
As we go to TV and streaming,
yes,
baby.
Because a show that I loved the first season of. Actually bought it. Did not have stars. But I had to lay out $10 to buy the first season of this show. Have not seen the second season yet, but Netflix has picked it up. That would be our man, the Green Arrow, Stephen Amell, in Heels. Wrestling drama set in Georgia. Will be premiering soon on Netflix, the 2 seasons that are available. There is an option, I understand, for a 3rd season, but scheduling might come into play and be a little bit of a bitch because Stephen Amell has committed already. I don't. Have you ever watched Suits? I don't get this whole fascination now with the show Suits and how it became a huge.
I tried the first episode and it didn't do anything for me.
Well, now they're bringing Suits back. They're rebooting it with him. I think it's Suits LA, something like that. And so that could throw a monkey wrench into season 3 of Heels. But at least get to watch the second season.
There you go.
And I would recommend to you checking it out. I think you would enjoy it. The
At
wrestling
some point,
thing is there, but there's a lot of other stuff going on that's pretty cool. We should note, I guess, a show that I do want to watch at some point, because I am a huge Seinfeld fan. Curb Your Enthusiasm officially ended this past Sunday after 12 seasons. And from what I'm hearing, no spoilers, from what I'm hearing, the final episode pays homage to Seinfeld.
Well, there you go. That's one I don't know if I'll go and watch.
Well, but you were never as big a fan of Seinfeld as I was.
No, I enjoyed it, but not over the top.
Right.
And Curb, I haven't seen anything to try and draw me in.
I get it. I definitely get it. Can we do my WrestleMania recap now?
I was going to ask before we get to our
2 big reviews
finales.
Yes. I won't spend a lot of time on this. The showcase of the Immortals, WrestleMania 40, a new era, as they say. That means Vince McMahon gone, kaput, out, done forever. So they have officially passed the torch on to Triple H. Paul Levesque is now officially taking over. He is the head honcho. WrestleMania 40 was okay. It was okay.
Anticlimactic.
I watched both nights. Saturday night was a little lame. Sunday was better. The 2 main events involving Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes and then The Rock, that was fun. The Rock's got a fucking mouth on him, let me tell you that. They had to bleep him out a lot. You could just see him pointing at people, watch your fucking mouth when you're talking to The Rock. I love that. I just like, come on, let it go. You got R-rated stuff on Peacock. Let it go.
Just let it ride. But you got the kiddies to consider.
And then, of course, I guess the new era means you get a trophy, and you get a belt, and you get a trophy, and you get a belt. Because almost all the belts changed hands. Sami Zayn, this is the one that drove me crazy. You won't get this, but Sami Zayn beats Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. Sami Zayn's one of the worst wrestlers out there.
Yeah, but doesn't Gunther run the frickin'
Imperium? He runs Imperium.
I thought he ran the Central Perk.
Shut up, Dave. Shut up, Dave. God damn it. You pulled me right in on that, didn't you? No. Sammy, the thing is, they had this whole storyline. He has got, I'm sorry. I don't care who I piss off when I say this. He has got the most plain Jane, boring looking ass wife in the world. Yet they make this big deal about she's always on the sidelines. Oh, come on, baby. You can do it. You can win. Oh, come on. I'm rooting for you.
Are we trying to do the whole helpless housewife thing?
I don't know. Like Cody Rhodes, his wife is a hot box of rocks. She's a damn good looking woman. This woman, I wouldn't look twice at her in a supermarket. Yet she's supposed to be the encouragement and support for Sami Zayn, and he beats the longest running Intercontinental Champion of all time.
Balls.
Bayley, another one that I'm not a fan of, wins one of the women's belts. Ugh, she's another one that just doesn't do it for me. And again,
Just
here's
no
my thing.
personality
I don't care if
or-
I don't care if we're talking about commercials. This is something I noticed in commercials lately too. I'm tired of the trend we've got now where we can't have attractive people in commercials or in wrestling or wherever, because that's wrong. We've got to have normal, plain Jane, boring to ugly people. Fuck that! I want to see good-looking people on my TV. I want to see hot chicks.
Sell me the goods.
Goddamn, I'm tired of seeing this
Sell me the goods.
DiGiorno commercial every 5 minutes in the morning while I'm watching my sports show with these ugly-ass women cooking pizzas in a microwave. Give me a fucking supermodel cooking a DiGiorno. I'm tired of it. There's a reason why. TV and movies are supposed to be fantasy because they're better looking than us. That's what we want to see.
We don't want to see our boring ass normal lives.
Again, I'd go to the supermarket and see this shit. Sorry.
Give me something to hope for.
That's what Bayley reminds me of. Just like Sami Zayn's wife. Boring, normal, unattractive people. And again, I can go down to the local 7-Eleven and see this. Then, of course, as I predicted last year, happens this year. Cody Rhodes wins the title, beats Roman Reigns. Even though it was Bloodline rules from Saturday night. So, of course, The Rock comes out to interfere, and then John Cena comes out to interfere, and The Undertaker comes out to interfere. I mean, it was ridiculous.
God. It was stupid bullshit.
It was fun, though. It was fun. It was fun. And then the tag team.
And Roman Reigns, and
he needed a vacation.
It needed to be done. What did he need a vacation from? The fucker never wrestled to begin with.
And it's funny because Michael Cole, the primary commentator, he even says that. He even, when the other guys are sticking up for Roman Reigns, he says, "We haven't seen the guy in 4 months."
Where the hell is he? He should be wrestling every week.
He will get a long break now. I am pretty sure we will not see him for a while.
And we will probably see Cody Rhodes wrestling more often.
Yeah. Well, because Cody Rhodes is also, he understands the business. Behind the scenes stuff. He works behind the scenes. Roman Reigns is just talent. He is not a behind the scenes business kind of guy. It
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it does. It does.
If you're the talent, you should still be out there front and fucking center.
Well, no,
especially if you are the title holder.
I agree with you on that.
If you are the title holder, you need to be present and wrestling on a consistent basis.
Now, the tag team titles got split again. And I hate who won the tag team titles. Because Damian Priest and Finn Balor had both, SmackDown and Raw. They put them up, ladder match, had both sets hanging above the ring. Austin Theory and Grayson Waller win one set. And The Miz and R-Truth, again.
Jesus, The Miz is still around?
Yeah, and that's the thing. He's winning belts still.
Why?
He hasn't been relevant in 5 years.
He was never relevant as far as I was concerned.
Now, the last thing, we move on from this. Last thing, the coolest moment of the whole weekend was early Sunday night. For the heavyweight championship. Now you got the Universal Championship, which is what Cody Rhodes won.
Right.
The heavyweight championship, which basically Raw's belt. Universal is SmackDown.
Right. Yeah.
So Seth Rollins had that. So Drew McIntyre beats Seth Rollins and wins the title. And then CM Punk is on the sidelines. He's injured, but they've got a rivalry thing. So Drew McIntyre wins the belt, goes over, starts talking trash to CM Punk, who's got his arm in a sling, basically. Oh, his arm's not hurt anymore.
Boom.
Yeah, he rips the cast off, starts smashing him in the face with the cast. But we forgot! Senior Money in the Bank was in the back.
With the briefcase.
He had 2 months left before it would have expired. Because the next Money in the Bank's coming up this summer.
Yeah.
So Damian Priest only had 2 months left to cash in. And he sees CM Punk beating the shit out of Drew McIntyre, comes running out.
Boom! I'm taking him out.
And he smashes Drew McIntyre in the face with the briefcase, says, I'm cashing it in now, throws him in the ring, pins him 1, 2, 3. So Drew McIntyre had the title for all of 5 minutes. Damian Priest is the World Heavyweight Champion. So that was cool. I like that.
There you go.
All right, now we move on to our regular TV and streaming that I've gotten my wrestling out of the way. And, of course, Dave has been waiting on me for this one because, of course, they put all the episodes out. He's got to watch each and every one of them right away. Him and his son.
Boom, 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 boom. We took a couple of weeks to watch them.
Of course, the movie was phenomenal, loosely connected to the streaming show on Netflix from Guy Ritchie.
The Gentleman.
8 episodes. Phenomenal 8 episodes.
Freaking fantastic.
Don't know if they're going to do a season 2. The door's open, but I could also see it.
I would be happy either way.
Yeah, they wrapped it up to a point where there is no cliffhanger. Let's put it that way. But
so
there is a way they
to go on, they could.
But it's very, very well done. Guy Ritchie usually does not disappoint.
No, and this series did not disappoint at all.
No, and if you're not familiar with the Gentleman, the movie, or the streaming series, this involves British aristocracy. One family in particular, son comes back.
As father's dying, the second son comes back. And as a shocker, is given the title. And finds out that there's an illegal marijuana farm on the property. And the chaos that ensues as he tries to extract the family from the illegal proceedings.
But does he actually want to extract them? Or does he actually secretly like doing business?
He's damn good at being involved with everything.
And of course, you have what you would expect when drugs are involved, rival gangs.
Yep.
Whether it's gypsies.
The hot daughter of the drug lord who's working the place. The tension between the two.
Susie Glass. I like me some Susie Glass.
I like Susie Glass. She's pretty.
Yes. So, it's well worth your time to watch this. Great caper. Great. I mean,
the cast is fantastic. I'm sorry.
Very well acted.
Jeffrey as the gamekeeper is my favorite.
Oh, Vinny Jones.
Vinny Jones playing Jeff, the gamekeeper.
And of course, if you know anything about Guy Ritchie's shows and movies, Vinny Jones is a constant.
Yes.
Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Many of the movies that Guy Ritchie's put out.
Awesome.
And even he despite the fact he's pretty much a background character, has a little plot twist in there
Yes,
that's
he
very
does.
interesting.
So it's 8 fantastic episodes.
Yes, and it's never boring. Always keeps you interested to wait for the next twist and turn. Basically, there's 2 or 3 characters where what are they going to do now to fuck things up for everybody else?
Yeah. All right, we know. Oh, what's this idiot gonna do?
Yep. Who's he going to blab to? Who's he going to double cross because he's desperate for money or just plain old
Plain
stupid?
damn dumb.
I give the gentleman a very solid 3.5 frenzies.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
4
A
is very
solid
hard.
three and a
If you guys
half.
haven't figured it out by now, 4 is
4
very
is
hard
very difficult.
because that's near perfection.
This there's just a couple of pieces that keep this series from being a 4.
Yes, it's very strong.
Very
3.5 though.
strong 3.5. It's about as close as you could get.
And so, as we talk about a show that we're giving a strong 3.5 frenzies to, borderline 4, close, very close. I think our other review this week fits the bill as well.
It's right there, the same vein. Tokyo Vice Season 2.
Now, Michael Mann is involved in this. Of course, it's not in any way, shape, or form beyond his style and his input. Not connected in any way to Miami Vice.
No.
But that being said, in a way, in the intensity, in the looking at the criminal underworld, in this case, the Tokyo, the Yakuza, as opposed to the drug cartels
In
in Miami, you got the same intensity, the same feel.
Yeah, the ruthlessness, the rivalry.
Backstabbing, yep. Anson Elgort, of course, plays Jake Edelstein, young reporter come over from the heartland, flyover country in America, trying to find his career, his path, his way in life, and this is his passion. This is what he wants to do.
He wants to be a journalist in Tokyo.
And of course, season 1, we watch as he gets acclimated, starts to make friends, makes enemies. And now season 2 ramps up the intensity.
Yep. The Yakuza kingpin Tozawa trying to make a play to bring all the families under him, implementing himself within the Japanese government. Is he going to be able to do it? Or is his nefarious ways going to impede?
Yep, he wants to not only insert himself in the government, but he also wants to become almost a CEO, take over the business realm as well.
Legitimize certain aspects, but he's still a scuzzball at heart. What is it his wife always calls him? Once a street thug, always a street thug.
Yep, absolutely. And of course, his wife ends up being a key linchpin in this, into whether he will succeed or fail. And of course, Jake does have police contacts that he keeps close to him.
Inspector Katagiri. Very well played.
Yep, Ken Watanabe, great actor. So all these different storylines with all these different characters come together. They split apart. There's death. There's destruction. The newspaper that Jake works at, is there somebody inside the newspaper that's trying to destroy these stories? That ends up being a big shocker. That ends up being a big shocker at the end.
Not what you had expected it to be. Insiders within the police, within the government.
And the end of season 1 had a specific shocking event that turns around in season 2, ends up the evidence to prove what happened gets destroyed. and the person who committed the crime or helped to commit the crime is
Elevating
getting very, very close to a
a very
prominent position of power.
yes.
And that becomes the impetus for season 2 on top of Tozawa because he's connected to it.
Yeah, but Jake is delving into politics in Tokyo and in the United States
Yep.
and the cross between what's going on.
And the corruption involved. And you would expect this is not a feel-good story. This is the kind of plot that will make you paranoid about government, never wanting to trust them.
Rule 1, never trust the government.
But
Great
unbelievably
freaking
great
show.
And they leave the door open a crack for season 3. I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith they're going to do season 3, but they did leave open a couple avenues.
There's a couple avenues where they could bring it back, but after 2 seasons, it's a satisfying conclusion.
Yep, absolutely agree. 3.5 frenzies again.
Yeah, I I would be scared for them to try and do a 3rd season.
I am almost with you on that. I am.
Because you had the storyline, it's done. And that was the impetus of the 2 seasons. I don't see anything there to move forward.
Yeah,
It would be
I'm
forced.
trying to balance my selfishness.
I want more from these
Yes.
characters, but I don't want it half-assed.
I don't want them to do jumping the shark.
Right.
I would rather have them end on a high note.
And be done.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But again, I'm selfish.
I know I'm
When
there
you get
too.
such high quality stuff.
And there's such a lack of high quality stuff.
Yep. But I know what you mean. I'd be fine if they decided to call it quits.
Yeah.
I have not heard one way or the other for sure if this was only meant to be 2 seasons. Same thing with The Gentleman. I have not heard anything about going forward with season 2 on that either.
Again, it's selfish. Season 2, having more of these characters would be great, but I don't want to sacrifice the quality to throw something together.
Exactly. This is not like Terriers. Of course, that is always a touchstone moment for us, going all the way back to the beginnings of the FX channel, the FX network, one of the great shows when they established themselves with shows like Nip Tuck and Rescue Me. One of their great early shows was Terriers, and Dave and I loved Terriers.
1 freaking season.
And they left you with a cliffhanger that was never resolved.
Never resolved. Ugh, and it pisses us off to this day.
So anytime you hear us refer to Terriers, now you know what we're talking about. Donald Logue, great show. Unbelievably great show.
Fan-freaking-tastic.
All right, coming up next week. Had to save something for next week. So we will wrap up season 3 of Resident Alien, which I'm shocked they decided just go with 8 episodes and be done. Didn't do the whole long split season like
they did before.
With season 2. So we'll have a full review of season 3 of Resident Alien for you next week. We've got to talk about Parish. Have you guys started watching that yet?
Not yet.
Okay. I watched 10 minutes just to get a little feel for it, a little taste. But Parish should be 2 episodes in by now. Of course.
See, now I'm going to have to balance Parish with Fallout.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to watch Fallout. That one I'll leave to you.
Yeah, so my youngest, huge player of Fallout, the video game. The series looks like it could be really good. Goggins looks fantastic in the character he's going to play. So we're planning on watching that. And of course, Parish with Giancarlo.
Yep.
Esposito.
Now that one I'll watch that along with you guys because it's got that feel, that very cool noir feel to it.
Yes.
Now, one that you are not going to be watching that I just started in on because I still, for a little while, still got my Apple TV,
Nah.
is Colin Farrell as Sugar.
God, that pisses me off that that's on Apple TV. I want to see that so
I watched
bad.
half of the first episode. 3 episodes dropped the first Friday, and now they're doing one a week after that. There's something weird going on with this show, and I haven't got far enough into it yet to figure out. It's going to be one of two things. It's either going to be phenomenal, or it's going to be something that's going to piss me off, and I'm not going to watch anymore. It's just, there's something weird
There's
going
something
on
there.
behind the scenes. They're alluding to certain things.
It could go either way.
Yeah, he's got some kind of a. I read a book a long time ago by Jonathan Lethem called Motherless Brooklyn. Now, they made a movie out of it with Edward Norton, and the book was ridiculously good. Now, the detective had Tourette's syndrome. The movie was still solid, but not as good as the book. But there's some kind of a neurological tic that Colin Farrell's character has got. There's something wrong with him. And I haven't gotten far enough into it yet where they've been able to explain it more, or you get an idea of what's wrong with him. But he's got a physical, neurological ailment of some kind, which obviously will make him a little bit different in terms of a PI than the Philip Marlowe's or the Sam Spades of the world. So I will report back next week on that. Now that there's no more basketball, no more WrestleMania, I'll be able to watch this stuff.
Maybe you could read a book.
Shut up, Dave! All right, time to move on to Moments of Silence. Big one for us as rock and roll fans of the 80s. A band that we were supposed to see here at the end of the summer. CJ Snare, at 64 years old, lead singer of Firehouse. Now, he had some underlying health issues, cancer, but by all accounts, he was doing better. He was going to come back out on the road with Firehouse, and as I just mentioned, we were going to see him with Firehouse, with Night Ranger and Jackal and Enough's Enough.
That was going to be phenomenal.
Now, we were lucky enough to see Firehouse years back with Winger.
Yep.
So, but
will they or won't?
I imagine there's just going to be 3 bands.
Yeah.
Or they'll find somebody.
Or they'll find somebody else to
They'll bring a sub in. But it is terrible news.
Gee, they could bring Stephen Piercy in. Just saying.
Stop fantasizing, Dave.
Hey, if you're going to have a fill-in, dream it.
So, but bad news. Bad news in the world of rock and roll. Losing CJ Snare of Firehouse at 64 years old. Thoughts and prayers go out to the Firehouse family. Of course, Jack Blades of Night Ranger posting pictures of when they toured in the past together. And then another death in the world of rock and roll. Michael Ward, who played guitar for the Wallflowers on their biggest album, Bringing Down the Horse.
Yeah.
The one that we all know, One Headlight. He played on that album, and the next album, Breach, the second and third albums from the Wallflowers. He passed away as well. And again, too young for these guys.
Too young.
We're not talking 80 years old, 70. Again, Keith Richards, what the fuck kind of deal did he make with the devil?
Clean living.
Not rock and roll, but one more from the world of music before we move on to America's favorite pivot. You remember that goofy song, I Ain't Got No Home? You remember that?
Oh, God. I've tried to put that from my memory banks.
Well, the guy who sang it died, Dave. So show some respect. Clarence Frogman Henry passed away, known for the song Ain't Got No Home.
Thoughts or prayers to his
Obviously not one of
family
your
and
favorites.
friends. That's fine.
You're showing respect.
I'm showing respect.
All right. If you were not listening to the sports edition earlier this week, we're changing things up
We're
for
throwing you a curveball in the sports metaphor world.
the Red Foreman Dumbasses of the Week. We were doing it game show format for a while. Dumbass or not.
But
Now we've decided that we're going to just throw all these dumbasses out there, discuss them, and then we will crown one
dumbass of the week.
Well, the first two are going to be easy because they're both coming from the same fucking TV show that we love. That would be The View.
Oh, God. Whoopi and Joy?
No, not, well, Whoopi actually was the voice of Sanity on one of these.
It happens from time to time.
Let's start off with the one that you wouldn't expect from The View. That would be Sunny Hostin. Now, she's just a nasty, mean bitch.
Well, yeah.
But we all know everybody got all worked up about the eclipse this past Monday, right? And we all
What was there
know
to get worked up about?
there were people, Dave, I literally heard clips of reporters sounding like they were orgasming. Oh my God, there it is! Oh my God, there it is! Oh! Seriously, that sounded like Mr. Bill, but I am not kidding you. You can go out on the internet and find the Weather Channel. One of the female reporters for the Weather Channel was like that, literally orgasming during
What, did
this
she have something vibrating in between as she watching this?
Jim Cantori. No, just kidding. Just kidding, Jim. Just kidding. But Sunny Hostin, of course, one of these morons on The View, normally, again, just an evil, mean bitch. I guess that fits for almost all of them, but
Yeah. Would she say it was a conspiracy that it didn't really happen?
she said not only the eclipse, but the recent earthquake in New Jersey and the upcoming cicada Armageddon are all because of climate change.
Oh my God, what a stupid twit.
And this is where Whoopi Goldberg, the voice of Sanity, I can't believe I'm saying this, had to step in and tell her, you don't understand. This is all stuff that can be predicted by science. This is not climate change, Sonny.
Oh my God.
But then,
Ugh.
number one, I can't believe one comment on TikTok fired up this controversy, but it was actually accurate. And then, of course, we had to have one of the ugliest women on TV, Joy Behar, chime in.
Oh,
But,
you mean the itchy asshole of the universe?
yeah, again, our unofficial member of Sports Frenzy.
Wait. I need to get this right. We have to get this properly
But while Dave's doing that,
documented.
the whole controversy, somebody on TikTok came out last week.
If an itchy butthole was a person, it would be Joy Behar.
One person, again, with the social media situation the way it is in this world, drives me fucking nuts. But the person made a good point. It made me think about it. And it started a firestorm. Why hasn't Saturday Night Live ever had a hot female cast member? Why have they all been kind of ugly looking? And then I see this weekend these ads with Rachel Dratch, and I kind of go, oh God, maybe they're onto something. But of course, they have to talk about this on The View. And Joy Behar has to bring up this
one
topic.
of the ugliest women of all time, the itchy butthole.
She says, I hope people realize that it's not a beauty pageant. And all I could think of was, Are you talking about SNL or are you talking about The View?
Bump.
All right, let's move on to something that we used to do back in the day, which we kind of work into the Red Foreman Dumbasses of the Week. It was our crime blotter.
Yes, Frenzy 5-0.
Frenzy 5-0. We've got a couple dumbasses here that would fit perfectly also into the classic segment, Frenzy 5-0. So now we go from laughing at the idiots on The View to getting pissed off at, once again, how you and I and you people out there in podcast land could never fucking get away with the bullshit that these Hollywood assholes do. We've been talking about Jonathan Majors, Kang, in the latest run of awful Marvel movies, and how he was found guilty of reckless assault and harassment on a poor woman in New York. Well, I want to call out the judge by name as a dumbass here. Michael Gaffey. Number one says, quote, jail is not necessary, unquote.
Bullshit.
And this is the poor woman got up in front of the court and said, says what we say all the time. She said it to the judge, to the court.
Are you fucking kidding me?
She says, you don't understand. He thinks he's above the law and he will do this again to another woman. And the judge says, jail is not necessary. So Jonathan Majors gets a 1-year domestic violence intervention program, and not even in New York, because he works out of LA. We'll make sure you can do it in LA.
Oh, bullshit. That's fucking New York and California for you. That's what you get.
They work in cahoots.
There's no accountability for anything in either of those two states.
Nope. Now, this is a guy who was almost canceled because he came out and said some nasty racist things, but he bounced back and ended up being a huge country music star. And that would be one Morgan Wallen. But he doesn't seem to get it.
No, he had to channel his inner Bobby Knight.
Morgan Wallen arrested. Now, do I think this is a little extreme? 3 felony counts for throwing a chair off the roof of a building? Seems little much.
A little much.
3? Maybe 1?
1.
Yes, it could have hurt somebody. I get that.
You could maybe 2 if somebody got hit.
But nobody got hit. But he got charged with 3 counts. Still, he's an idiot.
He's
a
fucking
dumbass.
moron.
Throws a chair off the roof of Eric Church's bar. Arrested on 3 felony counts of reckless endangerment. Because he, just like Jonathan Majors, doesn't get it. We're tired of you pampered fucking celebrities thinking you're untouchable.
Oof. Oof.
Oh, and by the way, going back to Jonathan Majors, that prick. Now, I'm not a religious person, but this bullshit he pulls every time when he goes into the courtroom clutching a Bible.
Yeah, that's a fucking act. Sorry. Oof.
All right, now I don't normally do this. I'm normally a really nice guy. I like to get along with everybody. I like to teach the world to sing in perfect harmony, Dave.
Okay.
And I know that people suffer cancer, leukemia, serious diseases that kill people, that take lives,
Yes.
that take loved ones away from us. But I'm getting a little fucking tired of all these made-up diseases that people like to throw out there and say, this is a real thing and we need to take it seriously.
Do we?
Dave, have you heard of body integrity identity disorder?
What the fuck are you talking about?
Body integrity identity disorder is a condition where you feel like a part of your body doesn't belong and you need to lop it off.
Oh, come on!
I am not kidding you.
What the fuck is wrong with this country?
BIID. A man recently, a 20-year-old man, went into the hospital and had 2 of his fingers on his left hand amputated because he felt they were not needed and they were causing him anxiety. And now the medical community,
this guy needs to be committed for thinking that, and whoever took the digits off needs to be put in jail. Big time.
This is part of the argument.
This is fucking ridiculous.
The ethical ramifications for the doctors.
This is ridiculous.
Now the medical community is saying it's better that they do this than they go home and they try to do it with their own, like a steak knife.
Let them do it with the damn steak knife. If they're that fucking nuts and psychotic. Stop making bullshit diseases and anxiety stuff up. This has gone way too fucking far.
Can you imagine that? Oh, I don't like my thumb. It makes me stay up at night and gives me nightmares. I'm going to lop it off.
How?
And if you don't let me do it through a hospital, I'll do it myself.
Then do it your fucking self.
I mean, come on! How far are we going to go with this?
This is ridiculous. This is beyond stupid.
Well, finally, our final contender, beyond stupid. We all know that California recently...
When are they going to fall off the face of the planet? We were promised.
California, of course, recently enacted a $20 an hour fast food minimum wage.
And how many businesses have gone under?
A lot. But, of course, the big chains are not. They're staying in business. McDonald's staying in business. This week, you go to a Southern California McDonald's, 40 chicken nuggets, 2 fries, 2 large fries, no drink.
40 chicken nuggets and 2 large fries, or?
Yep, that's it. 40 chicken nuggets, 2 large. How much? How much do you think with tax?
$55.
Oh, Jesus God. Okay. That's a little much. No, $27 for 40 nuggets and 2 large fries.
That's fucking stupid. That's what you get, Gavin Newsom, you fucking retarded moron.
All right, so we have Joy Behar, Sonny Hostin, Morgan Wallen, Jonathan Majors, the dude who slapped 2 fingers off of his hand because of body integrity, identity disorder, and Gavin Newsom and his stupid ass California $20 an hour fast food minimum wage.
Oh, God.
I've got it down to 2. My opinion, it's down to 2. And I think I know who I'm going to go with just because...
I have to go with Sonny Hostin for just being a fucking retarded twit.
Yep. Yeah, that's where I'm going to. Because how does she get to say this on national TV, acting like she has a brain? See, that's what I was thinking. It came down to Sonny Hostin and the guy with the body integrity identity disorder. And you know what I was thinking? I think...
That guy's just a fucking lunatic.
No.
She is just an fucking dumbass who has...
No.
Oh my
Dave,
God.
I figured it out. I had an epiphany. Joy Behar and Sonny Hostin and Whoopi Goldberg on The View, they have BIID because they want to get rid of their brains.
There you go.
They need to get rid of a body part they're not using that causes them stress and anxiety. It causes us stress and anxiety. That's going to do it, kids. We hope you enjoyed it. Your favorite politically incorrect pop culture show, your Saturday morning hangover cure is done for another 7 days.
Yep. Don't forget to check out our regular sports edition, your politically correct sports
Not
commentary.
politically correct.
Politically incorrect.
There you go. You said politically correct.
Why did I do that? I have no idea.
You're talking about the View too much. They're starting to rub off on you.
Stop bringing those twats up.
He's your Uncle Dave.
He's your Uncle Kev. We'll talk to you next week, kids.